way to the inside. And that was just a class move. And look at this. Big run there by Weisberg. Cameron kind of sensed it and just shifted right just a little bit. And look at this. Mason Filippi around the outside, Jeff, while everybody was defending the inside. I'll tell you, Mason is on form this year. What a great restart, and almost snuck by no less a talented Dane Cameron.
Yeah, got by 2 of them, almost got 3 for that final podium. This young man doing a superb job has got a warning from race control for John Weisberg. That contact with Toby Grahovic there. Do not want to see that again down there in turn 1. I don't think that was Weisberg's fault there. That was just close racing down there to the end, just trying to give each other just enough space, but nobody wanted to have the advantage.
And the one thing for Dane that he has to be just, a little bit keyed in on here is, the Pirelli World Challenge rule on defending. You can go to any spot of the track you want, anytime you want, as long as it's not in response. If you move in response, that's considered a block. We haven't had any warnings yet thrown at him, but we see him shifting and kind of easing and that sort of thing. So that's just something he's just not that familiar with that rule book, or part of that rule book, if you will. But doing a nice job. But boy, look at Weisberg able to roll speed, exiting Big Bend into the right-hander.
Watching Toby Grahovic try to defend against Weisberg the best that he can, but what a great move, like you said, Greg, from Mason Felipe.
Yep.
Just won that round at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Strong here again, up to 4th place, just nipping on the back bumper of Dane Cameron to see if he can try to get that final podium spot. 10 minutes to go, less than 10 minutes now, so it's just a little sprint race here to the end.
And for Cody Ellsworth, the bad luck continues, having worked his way up through the mid-pack with a great opportunity to ease his way into the top 10 in the pits. Plummeting down the order. Don't know what happened, but that is a tough break.
Yeah, lost the clutch at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and I'm not sure what the problem is now, but not a great day so far for Cody Ellsworth with the penalty for the splitter, starting in the back and then working his way all the way up, and now he's parked it on pit lane. Looks like that car is done.
Yep, out of the racing machine. And there's the number 34, Tony Rivera, and he is putting down some laps here, Jeff. He just had a personal best in that last lap, sitting in the 7th spot right now, but running a little bit quicker. But again up front, Goulart and Holton doing what they did before the caution, very quickly opening a margin up there. They're 3.5 seconds clear of Cameron in just a far less than that many laps, it seems.
Yeah, you saw Tony Rivera there, just got a little bit of a balance performance adjustment there. Goes to the 10-inch wide wheels. Was one of the few cars that wasn't already on 10-inch wide wheels, so good to see the Pirelli World Challenge officials making that distinction there. So 18 by 10s, and they're just a good-looking inky wheel on that Nissan 370Z with Rivera, and Rivera's doing a great job. It's a battle with Felipe and Grahovic there up in turn number 1 now.
Yep, we saw Mason Felipe come down the front straight, move over to the right to defend, and Grahovic stayed there, then popped out and just used that outside ramp into Big Bend. And if your car's working, Jeff, and you're confident the guy on the inside's not going to do something silly, you can make that work, and Toby did. That was beautiful.
Yeah, these guys racing side by side. We talk about Rivera. There he is. He's always been strong at the end here, and you see, I love seeing the flame coming out of the back of all these touring cars there in the exit of turn number 4. Oh, that climbing turn is just so insane when you go there. If you have a chance to come to Lime Rock, wow, Nick Whitmer sideways there too up in the hill. It's such a great place to watch.
Well, there's a reason. There's a lot of fans that like to be right up at the top of that climbing turn because it is fascinating back there, and a good group of fans back there for sure. Meanwhile, down the hill we go, and Randy Hale, something's not quite right. He's just trying to stay out of everybody's way at this stage, and it's too bad to see that. But Robert Nimkoff sliding through, as Randy giving everybody plenty of room at this stage. But look at this. Right at the sharp end of things again, 7 minutes remaining, and Holton has resumed the attack. And, for Paul, he's probably going, boy, Elevon here. It's the first time he's raced in this category. He hasn't made a mistake. What's going on? Well, when you think of how intensely close the racing in Touring Car A was last year with Elevon Goulart, even though he had far more wins, he had to often do it in very creative ways. This is a guy who's used to dealing with immense pressure.
Yeah, Elevon Goulart, he's been behind the wheel of Lotus Exige with Krug-Speed as well, winning the national championships in this car in the STU category at Road America. So he knows how to drive one of these cars. And oh, look at that Holton looking to the inside there. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe trying to see if he can make a move or try to spook him a little bit, but that was a decisive move there in turn one, trying to go to the inside. Maybe thought better of that as they were too far into the braking zone.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I just always try and imagine what the driver in the car in front, what's running through their mind when something like that happens, when you see somebody make a move like that, trying to startle them, maybe get them just that instant to look away and then miss a turn-in point or a braking point just a little bit. And for the guys that really have things covered and under control, you often wonder if in their mind they're not going, really?
Do you look in the rearview mirror and smile underneath their helmet and go, really? Come on. Yeah. But wow, what a great race this lead
fabulous
battle has been between Goulart, and I think that's about as far as they've been so far this race, is Paul Holton looking in the inside, trying to get Goulart to look around, but that Lotus has some good momentum coming down that hill, and it's really going to take, I think, a mistake by Elevon if Paul's going to have a chance here. Elevon, mistake, I don't think those go in the same sentence.
Yeah, you don't see that happen very often, that's for sure. And we're now dipping into the final 5 minutes here at Lime Rock Park for the Pirelli World Challenge. 7th round of the touring cars here running by themselves. We'll have 2 Touring Car A, Touring Car B combined group races tomorrow, and we have 1 more for the touring cars. And a great call, such a big field between the 3 groups on this short track, and an opportunity here for the touring cars to get out by themselves and just shine. And Dave Cameron, he's trimmed that. He dropped back to almost 4 seconds off, and now that margin down to 3.3, and he's well clear now. Grahovic in the number 1 BMW, Mason Filippi in the 12 BMW, and the number 5 at Weisberg, and Tony Rivera right in that pack as well, and Magagnoli and Whitmer and Popes, this whole group, and
and Carl Whitmer off to the grass there on the exit of turn 2 again. So Carl trying to not fuse Honda Accord. See if we can get a look here as he just flies off the edge there and tries to get it to turn and not hit that K-rail and lock it up and slides right off the end again into the bush.
You gotta wonder if back behind that tree there's not a target, because everybody's aiming for it.
It's been a hot spot there, certainly, and just really good that they don't have a big wall there either.
Oh, yeah.
That would really take out a lot of people, and it's better just the cars are slow enough by the time they get there. But I think they'll cover that by a yellow flag, and we should be able to go to the end here. Everybody sees that car is there and knows that he's there, and we should be okay.
And interestingly, I understand it. You're just trying to do anything to not get into that, but you saw him for a long time right before he got into that area with the tires locked. And it's tough not to do that, but if you had maybe released the brake just a little bit, try and get a little steering input, who knows? And it looks to me like Cameron has the windshield wipers on, so I wonder if we're starting to get some moisture out there. And Weisberg taking a look at Mason Filippi. And Mason, I think he did something really, really smart there. I'm sure Weisberg's going, he was blocking me. And Mason's going to say, no, I just shallowed up my entry into the turn. I can turn into the apex here, can I?
Yeah, I did see a couple raindrops though on the lens there.
So
So it really takes the track to be super wet for these Pirelli P0 tires to start losing grip. Even if it's damp, got some mist, and it slightly gets a little sheen on it, as we saw at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, the P0 Slick was the tire to have even in the rain. Obviously, if it's a deluge and a downpour, you're going to want to be on the Pirelli P0 rain tire, but the Slick is still even great when you get to even a damp course. This is the battle for 4th with Grahovic, Felipe, and Weisberg.
And Mason Felipe just is continuing to press here. Now you can see 1 fans and a couple more go. And this time it looks like Weisberg might have the inside on Mason down into turn 1. Mason gives him just enough room. Ooh, that was very close. If not a touch, it was extremely close. And Weisberg checked up just a little bit, Jeff. You can see the back end of the Mazda just step out for a second, and he gathered it up.
Yeah, lost that grip. You lost that weight transfer when you let off the gas and it moved all that weight back to the front. You lose that rear grip, and did not want to get back into him. You already got warned for contact before. There was just a slight little kiss, just a little touch. And that's just racing. That's just good, close, clean racing as well. Weisberg smart to get out of the gas there.
Boy, it just impresses me how Grahovic, he turns in very early into the climbing turn, and it looks like he's just going to run straight off the track. and then is able to gather it up and get it to work. Just a very aggressive line through there. Weisberg now down to the inside again, and the number 12, they just got a warning over the radio for potential blocking, moving in response. And this time Mason plays it beautifully, stays right put where he was supposed to. And for Mason right now, Mason's best friend might be a guy named Rivera, who's coming up and starting to get in the mirrors of Weisberg. Leaders expected to get the white flag next time by, Jeff.
And not only Rivera, but look at Maganoli and Whitmer as well. They're starting to really close in on this gap, and I'm not sure if they're getting strong at the end or somebody's holding them up, but this train of 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and then you got just that little shot of that 36 BMW Randy Pope back there in 10th. So we'll see who's going to end up from 4th through 9th place there. It's not over yet.
Remember, fast lap in this race determines where these guys will start for tomorrow's race, and that's important as well. White flag should be flying this time by. Cameron has said, you know what, I'm not going to be able to run with these guys. I'm not going to risk anything at this stage. A third in Turner Motorsports return to touring cars. Not too bad to be on the podium first time out. And fastest of the BMWs. And now we're going to see, does Holton have anything left he can do with Elevan Goulart, or does Goulart have this one covered?
He's only going to have a couple more chances to do it, and that's going to be right up here into the diving turn and then try to drag race him down the straightaway if he can make it happen. I believe he's setting up for a run. You see that gap that Goulart's pulled over now. I think Holton's trying to get a good run here, get a little bit of a draft, and try to see if he can drag race him in that Audi down the straightaway here as he's starting to close the gap a little bit as they come under the bridge down to the downhill.
He's got to be an aggressive move. He gets to the inside, but it wasn't enough, and he knew if he tapped him, it was going to be a big, big wreck. So smooth there. Goulart running to the inside to salute the crew, and a big win in his debut in touring cars. The reigning touring car A champion, Elevan Goulart, comes through the win. And the other thing for Paul Holton to be a little bit smart, if he forced the issue and wrecked, he's your point leader and was second in the points, way down the order. That would have been silly, and an amazingly happy crew.